So I've just driven a little bit west on the horseshoe. I'm near the top of Orama Road here. Here we're in the Baalijin Nature Reserve. And I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure this is a fire break that was put in by national parks contractors. Now, there's a few things that are different to forestry here. Firstly, they've obviously sent a machine back in for a follow-up cleanup. And as you can see from this miter drain, they've done a good proper job. It's not going to be eroding. Every single one of them on this hill has been properly installed. The other thing of note is there's no massive windrow the whole way along. There's a little bit of debris, which you'd expect, but there hasn't been the wholesale destruction that we've seen this morning in compartment 128. I mean, obviously you're going to have a little bit of disturbance putting in a fire break like this, but I guess this is an example of best practice, and in 128 it's an example of bad operator and a negligent attitude by the people who are overseeing them, which is Forestry Corporation. So I'll keep walking up and see if there's any more windrows, but the circumstances are possibly slightly different here. Obviously they haven't had as many trees in their fire break, but I don't think the approach Forestry Corporation has taken in 128 should be continued in the future. I think it's needlessly heavy-handed and destructive. And I hope they can at least send some follow-up clean-up operation in and fix up their miter drains and stop the worst of that erosion, like National Parks has done here. Whew, steep hill. I'm at the top of the ridge now. Bit of a turnaround area there, and then the break continues down this ridge line and it joins Rose's Road, which runs below us here in around the side of the bluff. Again, this area hasn't been touched up since the fire like the front half has. Again, minimum destruction. It's probably a little bit more canopy cover on this fire break, but to be honest, I think for blacking out, which they would have blacked out down to the west, for blacking out I don't think it would be any less effective than the one in 128. But yeah, they managed to do this without a huge amount of destruction. You can see the old original miter drains they put in are working really well. They're doing what they're supposed to do for the most part. This road's even been crowned, so it's looking a lot better than the massive mess in 128. Obviously, if a hot fire came out of the valley, it's going to be crowning when it hits up here, so even if this fire break was twice as wide, the fire would just go over the top. but as a place to stage a backburn, it seems alright. Seems like it's fit for purpose. Last thing I'd say is, in my opinion, national parks are much better land managers than Forestry Corporation, and this is why the local conservation community are advocating for the Great Koala National Park, and that would see this country changed over to national park and taken out of forestry's hands. And I think our wildlife and biodiversity would be much better for it. Thanks. So there's a mitre drain about 10 metres above me here, and then there's this cutaway here. And then there's another cutaway drain going out there past my bag. And here we got another mitre drain. Now this it is working, but it's failed a little bit here. But then if we look down, the failure gets caught by the first cutaway drain. And then there's another cutaway drain on this side, and a third one, and then a mitre drain. I don't know how well it shows up on the camera, it's about 10 metres below me now. So, and below that there's another cutaway drain, and there's been some effort to put a crown in this road. I mean, in this sort of highly erodible soil, this is what needs to be done for drainage. And you can see it's reasonably effective. So where this failed mitre drain drains down here, you can see there's a bit of a plume going down, but it's really not nearly as bad as it could be if it didn't have this cutaway drain. So this backbone again is the National Parks and Wildlife Service containment line, done by their contractors.